Because we are live. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to this very, very important episode of the Egg Pod. Joining me tonight, have a couple of peeps that you may know from the world of Commander here up in Gauteng, maybe across the country. We've got Lillian Daneel, legendary Lily over here, and at the bottom we've got Tim Yen, who was last year's cEDH league champion from the Commander League. So how's it, peeps? Thank you for joining me.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Cool. Okay, so first things first, before we jump into a big episode, let's do the thing we got to do and give a shout out to our patrons. You guys are the Eggies Knees. We have uncommon Eggies in the Jolly Orange Bunny, Ricardo Leon, Kahuna Koala, Martin Delaporte. Rare Eggies are Stefan Engelbrecht, Robert Wild, Philip Thompson, Christopher Crane, Kamikaze Badger, Ivan Callets Crockett, Clinton Riddell, our mythic Eggies, Christoph Swartz, Shadow Panther, Baker Bakura, Legendary Lily, Niels Klaassen, Tyler Cook, Clayton Bacher, and Ansel, who I see in chat tonight along with Bigger Klaassen. Thank you all. You guys are amazing. You've really helped us do some of the cool stuff that we'll be doing lately. I'm sure you've noticed the tokens that are up on our website, things like that. These things have been made possible by our patrons, as well as a bunch of other cool stuff that we're sorting out. But just to say once again, thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to us. And now let's jump back to our live screen. We see Zor, I don't know how to say that, Z0R3A, Zoria. I'm going to go Zoria, and I'm going to say, hey guy. He says, hey, they say, hey guys, first time here. Welcome to the party, pal, in the words of John McClane in Die Hard. But let's not read too much into that. But the reason we're here tonight is to talk about the National Commander League 2023, which kicks off this weekend. We have two events on Saturday the 29th at the Geek Home in Pretoria and at the Luck Shack Milnerton in Cape Town. That's on Saturday. On Sunday, we have a event at the Nexus Hub in Randburg. So those tickets are all available right now on the Easy Gaming Group website, along with a whole bunch of other tickets for some of the events that are coming after this weekend, this opening weekend. So if you haven't got yours yet, please go and check them out. Tickets for this event are only available on the website for any of these events. Okay, and there are a number of reasons for that. I'm sure there might be some grumblings. I'm sure there might be some people saying, why can't we just buy at the store on the day? Okay, so I have a book of things to get through tonight. And I'm sorry. I feel like I'm a teacher and I'm going to be laying down some stuffs. But that's just how it is. And then I'm going to ask Lily and Tim to jump in at a certain point because they are actually playing a very crucial part in what we're doing this year. But just to kick things off, let's talk about these tickets. Teachers are cool. Yes, I knew you would say that, Niels Klaassen. I love you too, man. Why are tickets only on the site? Mainly two reasons. The first reason is we've got the Commander VIP pass available. For your discounts to count on your purchase of your ticket prices for your events, you have to buy those through the website. So if you've bought your VIP ticket, then you get your discounts. If you buy your VIP ticket and you pitch up at the store and want to buy a ticket on the day, chances are if you buy it from the store, you're not getting your discount. And so therefore, why did you buy the VIP pass, right? So the VIP pass is in place, and the reason it's in place is to help make things cooler. You get $40 off every single entry to each event during the 2023 Commander League. Done. Okay. You also get cool pack of random tokens, and you get 10% off anything in the store that's not another event till the end of the Commander League. Okay, so that's why we're doing that. All right. It also means, the second reason, it's less hassle for the stores, because the way it works at the moment is if we sell tickets and the stores sell tickets, and then we got to reconcile all of that at the end of the day, and the store needs to keep track of who's done what and bought what and where what and so on and so on. We're trying to take that away from the stores. We're trying to make things as easy as possible. All right. What we are going to have is we're going to have an easy payment link at each of the stores, so that you can just quickly buy your ticket by following a link that they'll have as a QR code on the table or on the counter, wherever they are. Just click that code, put in your details, buy your ticket. We can keep track of that. The store doesn't have to worry about it. Okay? That's what we're going to be doing. All right? Philip's like, okay. I see Philip's in chat. He could have just joined us in Discord, but it's fine. We'll just talk to him over there. He can chirp in chat. It's all good. So that's the tickets thing, and that's why we're doing it online. It just makes things a lot more streamlined on the back end of the events. So I hope that makes sense to people. If you guys do have questions or if you've got anything you want to ask, please feel free to just hang on to them until I'm done. Okay, there's a lot of stuff I want to get through. Try and make a note for yourself if you need to try and remember to ask me a question. But let me try and get through everything first, and then when we get to the end, by all means, ask whatever questions you want, and myself and other people will try and answer them as best we can. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is the competitive level of these events. We know that EDH is a casual format. We know that there is no official competitive format of EDH, and you cannot apply Comp Oriel to an EDH event. Okay. Gerard. I knew of it. I wasn't exactly sure of its precise location, but I knew of it. I'll give it that much. But Google is my friend everywhere. Anyway, going back to the conversation about the competitiveness of these events, we are going to try and run these events as close to Comp Oriel as possible. The reason for that is because there are some pretty big prizes up on the line, okay? So you can't just come and muck about and hope to win cool stuff. If you're going to come and play. But come and play from the point of view that you're playing a competitive event, just like you would if you were playing in the Gauteng Modern League, or just like you would if you were playing in any other tournament event that you were going to, okay? We want to try and make these events as competitive as possible, but maintain the fun, because that's Commander. Commander is about fun, but it's also about winning, all right? I mean, you know, that's kind of what it's about. And in this case, it's not just about winning, it's about winning cool stuff, because Unplug Yourself has really come to the party, and the prize support that's going to be coming in from the regionals to the finals is it's off the chains, people. It's off the chains. Okay, power's still off here, laptop hoping it lasts. All good, Philip, we know the feeling. Everybody can hear my generator going in the background. We've had no power for 48 hours now, so you know, woo, let's go. So that's just so you know, I'm going to be sort of repeating this idea that we want to be as close to Comp Oriel a number of times as I go through the things that I want to talk about tonight. And I think it's very important that people understand what we're trying to do. But it's so difficult to re-sleeve a 100-card deck every time you play. I hope sleeves are part of the prizes. They very well might be. We can try and work it out. If we come last, do we at least get a hug for participation? Kenty, you can have as many hugs as you like. Okay, Kenty was our first VIP. Kenty can have all the hugs. All of them. Okay. Alrighty. Right, let's talk about these qualifiers. Why are you playing in the qualifiers? What's in it for you, right? So the reason we're playing the qualifiers is to determine who gets free entry into the regionals. Alright? Philip offers to give all the hugs. Thanks, Philip. You want to get free entry into... I mean, players can still pay their way into the regionals. They can still pay their way into the finals, etc. But we've put things aside to say to people, we want to give you free entry into the events where we start giving the big things away. Okay? So the top 4 league-placed players from each region will get free entry to the regionals. So in the qualifying rounds, you're playing for your highest possible finish on the league table. Doesn't matter where you are. You're just playing for your highest possible finish on the league table. And then by region, we will determine the top 4 from each region who will then be given free entry into the regionals. And I'm telling you now, the reason I keep saying this is because at the regionals, people, there's over 20,000 rands worth of prizes. That's at the regionals. Never mind the final. Okay? So that's what you're playing for. You're playing for free entry to the possibility of winning your share of 20 grand's worth of prizes. Okay? That's why you're playing the qualifiers. There are 2 qualifying rounds, which gives you plenty time to rack up as many points as possible. Don't forget that the point system works the same as last year. Each new store you play at, you earn 1 extra bonus point that goes onto your total, and so on and so on and so on. We'll come back to the actual, like the day's play in a moment, all right? But that's where we're at with that. Like I said, Unplug Yourself have totally come to the party in terms of supporting this event. It's quite spectacular. Right, on the day there are going to be 2 streams of play. There's going to be an EDH stream and there's going to be a cEDH stream. Okay? You suck at Magic. Yes, Philip. You suck at Magic. You're terrible. Nobody ever loses against you. cEDH and EDH. All right? You as the player, when you arrive, will register. If hopefully you've already bought your ticket, you don't need to scan the little thing on the counter and buy your ticket straight away. You'll be on a list. You will then inform the store that you plan to play in which stream and what commander you're going to be playing. All right? Then what will happen is, depending on the number of players, we're hoping that there'll be enough for this to happen. There will be 5 rounds of 50 minutes each, where you will play randomized pods in each of those streams, racking up as many points as you can. Okay? And the points work as follows. In a pod of 4 people, if you come last, you get nada. If you come second last, you get 1. You come third last, I suppose that's second, you get 2. And if you win, you get 3. Okay? That's how the point system works. If there's an insta-kill where one guy kills 3 people in one go or some kind of mad combo, those 3 people share whatever remaining points are after the winner has taken 3. So at a table of 4 people, I combo off and I whack the entire table. I take 3 points. There's 3 points left. Each of those players gets 1 point. Right? That makes sense. Okay. You'll also notice, combo, what is that? Says Bigger Claassen. I wonder. Him of the many duck races. And goblins. Yes. The other side of the points thing is concession. Okay? You are not allowed to concede for points. Alright? I hope that makes sense to everybody. You cannot at some point go, oh, so-and-so is going to win this pod. Why don't the 3 of us all just concede and share the points? That is not allowed. Alright? The only way you're allowed to concede is if the table looks at you and says, hey, or you turn to the table and go, there's nothing else I can do. There's no way that I can do anything in this particular game right now. I'm out of it. I'm dead. Can I concede? If the table agrees, you may concede. You won't get any points though. It's just that simple. Do the stores handle setting up the pods, or do you guys have a way to set them up for them? The stores are going to be given a link to a program, believe it or not, called something to do with golfers. The link escapes me right now. But it is an incredibly clever program that sets up totally random pods of 4 people because it's designed to set up 4 balls for golfing. Haha! Yes, it's very good. So the stores will do that on the day. Once they have all the names of the registered players and everybody's there, everybody's good to go, they will input those names into that system and the system will spit out the pods. That's how it's going to go. But please keep answers to the end. Pretty please. Pretty, I mean answers, questions to the end. Same thing, I guess. Right, okay, here's a really important thing. We're playing this at as close to Comp Oriel as we can for a random event. I said I was going to be repeating that. So for that purpose, when you register, when you buy your ticket, right, please use your correct full name and surname. Because I am not going to be running around 14 stores across the country trying to find out which Chris played at that table. Okay? Because it totally messes up the league tables when we get the wrong names. Right? And if your name is wrong, if I get George, I'm not putting George on my league table. Okay. Playing in Jordan. Yes, Jordan. That's exactly what I'm getting at, guys. It's just, please, just do that. All right. Again, the idea is you're playing for some serious prizes. If you want those prizes, we need to know who you are. So don't be a wally. Put your name in there properly. Make sure we've got your correct details. Otherwise, literally, if I get a first name only, I'm not putting you in my league table. You'll then have to come to me somehow and say, oh, but I'm not on the league table. I go, well, who are you? And if you say Steve, I'm going to go, Steve who? Yeah? So that's the issue. Please, guys, girls, let's not do that. It's really not fun for us on the back end. That much I can tell you. Okay. Again, just coming back to the idea of playing things as close to Comp Oriel as possible. We have one exception in terms of comp REL, enforcement, and that's proxies, right? Part of the fun of Commander is blinging out your deck, is doing cool stuff with it. Part of the fun of looking after some of your most expensive cards, most valuable cards, is proxying them so that you don't have to play those cards and they don't get damaged and you don't lose any of the value that you've put in to getting those cards. For that reason, EGG's policy on proxies is as follows. If you are asked to produce the original card and can do so, you may play the proxy. Okay? Is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
When I'm saying the actual card, I don't mean a photograph of it. I don't mean a picture you drew that morning of it where it's hiding in your bedside table, or a letter from your mom that says you own the card. I want to see the card. Okay? If we see the card, you may play the proxy. Now, we've had a little bit of an issue with some of the stores last year. I will be talking to the stores after this as well, but I hope some of them are here and listening, please, because this is important. All right? These are EGG events. Our stores are amazing. Our partner stores are absolutely incredible. The fact that they're hosting these events for us and letting players walk through their shops and play games and have fun is awesome. But these are EGG events. That means our rules are the rules. So, proxies, if you can produce the original card, should you be asked to do so, you may play the proxy in an EGG event. Okay. Are we all super clear on that one? I really don't want this to be a problem. Okay, there we go. Philip Thompson. Yes, you have to own the card and produce the card if asked. Okay, done. Simple. We understand that these cards are expensive. We understand that you don't want them to get scuffed in a game. If you've got a proxy for whatever the card is, whatever the value of it is, a Gaia's Cradle, whatever it is, so long as you show us that you own the actual card, you can play the proxy. We're not going to be stressed. Okay. That's the way we go. Then, something we're adding this year. We can pitch up with a file with the original cards in. Yes, you can. Absolutely. If you're one of those guys that proxies out your whole deck, bring a file that's got the whole deck original cards in it. Right? Then you can play all the proxies you like, so long as we can show... Yes, you can play EGG basic lands. Of course you can. Damn right you can play EGG basic lands. You should go buy some. Can I ask, we say playtest cards and not proxy? Is this just a terminology thing? Tim, Lily, any thoughts on this?
By playtest, if you mean a piece of paper stuck in front of a basic land with a sleeve on it, is that what they mean?
I'm not sure. Gerard, what is it you mean by a playtest card, dude? If you just clarify for us, because those other playtest cards that I saw were horrible.
Yeah.
So if it was the playtest card where it's kind of like you get them in boosters and you can write stuff on it, that should be fine. Because the way I understand it, those are the same kind of look, feel, and that kind of stuff to a Magic card.
Sure.
But if it's like a piece of paper, a store or whoever's running an event could reasonably argue that that piece of paper alters the feel on the hand of the card too much. I can essentially say I'm proxying all my rocks as an example, and I put pieces of paper in front of a basic land.
Sure.
To say, these are all proxies. If I'm shuffling, I can kind of feel them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get a sense of where you're going with this, because those playtest cards were specific cards. They had specific abilities on them. When I'm talking about proxies, I'm talking about like a variant version of a Gaia's Cradle that says it's a Gaia's Cradle that looks like looks like an alternative version of a Gaia's Cradle kind of thing. Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking at cross purposes? Inferno, that overcomplicated things. Never mind. So, I mean, in terms of a proxy, for me, a proxy would be like, you see these altered cards, etc., that people have done of particular cards. I mean, we've seen Time Twisters, we've seen Gaia's Cradles, we've seen these kinds of cards. All I'm trying to say, when it comes to these cards, Call them proxies, call them alternates. I think the wording is irrelevant. For me, the Slivmizit. No, you can't play Slivmizit. I think the intention here is to say, if you've got a card that represents an actual Magic card in your deck, and you're saying that card is that card, if we ask you to present the original card, you need to be able to do so to play the alternate version that you have in your deck. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I hope that clears that up for everybody. I think it's very important that people understand that. Cheap versions of the cards you own, says Bigger Classic. Sure. Okay, the next thing we're doing is this year we're going to specifically ask for deck lists. Not to be submitted, but to be available. If you go to any competitive event, you are expected to have a deck list with you. You're expected to be able to produce a deck list or provide a link to a deck list, or whatever the case may be. The same is true for this year's event. That's right, Philip, like your 700 mana crypts. So what we're suggesting is, whatever deck you're planning to bring to the events, please do a deck list on something like Moxfield or Archidect or any one of those other online platforms where you can have a link that you can then get to us. And the reason for this will become clear in just a little bit, okay? Because it's part of our nefarious plan to take over the world and instill our rule on everybody. Did I say that out loud? I was supposed to say it's supposed to make things easier for everyone. Anyway, let's get right into it. You'll understand about the deck list in a minute. So the name of the game is to have fun. But with that in mind, we've got to address certain issues that raised their ugly heads last year during the National Commander League. So we've written an article. This article is going to be by the way, everything we're talking about tonight will be on the EGG website tomorrow, so that everyone can access it and go over it and digest it and read it, and please God do so before the weekend, so that you don't ask 1,000 questions of anybody who may not know all the answers. Anyway, so we put this article together. We've called it EDH versus cEDH, the balance of power. At Easy Gaming Group, we endeavor to make our events not only professionally organized, but also enjoyable for all those who participate. To that end, we recognize that one of the greatest challenges we faced last year during the initial National Commander League was deciding on a fair adjudication of deck power levels. And this dampened some people's experiences, and thanks for Lily's input, that's not cool. There is no such thing as a level 3 Gobos. Okay? So, we understand that EDH is a casual format. We've said this before. There are no hard and fast rules that determine what is EDH and what is cEDH. There's a vague understanding of power levels of something from 1 to 10, etc., etc., etc. And all of these things are very subjective, and all of these things are unreliable as a base for judging things. What we've done is we have established what we are calling the independent power level team, which is made up of Magic community members who you all know, who are knowledgeable in Commander in all its aspects and well respected in the community. The power level team consists of Philip Thompson from Sad Robot, Lillian Daneel, and Tim Yen. Okay, this is our power level team. I'm a facilitator. Alrighty, no, not Niels, Okay, kick Niels out. These three people are going to be looking at decks from an entirely independent point of view. They're going to be looking at them based on their knowledge and understanding of what power level is within Commander. Okay? So, what's going to happen is they're going to be making the final decisions on any deck that enters one of our tournaments and is unsure of which stream, either EDH or cEDH, it should be playing in. Okay? Because these tournaments are played for some big prizes, again, we're trying to run these things as close to competitive as possible. Alright? And I've just mentioned that we're asking you to create deck lists on a digital platform like Archidect and Moxfield. So if you are asked to, you can present us with a deck list. We can share it with this group. They can have a look at it, and they can come back with their power level recommendation in as quick a time as possible. All right? This will apply to EDH and cEDH players alike. Okay? To understand where we're going with this and to gauge things that we've decided in terms of power level, you need to understand that at EGG we've decided on the following baseline power level qualifications when it comes to where we see decks playing in our events. So decks of power level 1 to 8 are EDH. Anything of 9 or greater, as well as fringe decks that tip the 8-point level as high power, will be considered cEDH. These will be the restrictions within which the power level team will be making its decisions. Okay? We've sort of tested it a little bit today on some stuff, and we've been going over it for a while now. We've been chatting about it for over a week, and we feel like this is kind of where we want to go with this. All right? It does mean a few changes, and it does mean a couple of other things. So bear with me as we go through this. Just to that point, Philip, Lily, Tim, you guys are all with me so far. You're in agreement with everything I've said so far. You're cool with what
Yes.
we're going, yeah?
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
All right, cool. Just so everybody knows, it's not just me. Yeah. Okay. So the first change is there can be only one. All right? In contrast to last year's event, we have chosen to remove the rule that permits EDH players to bring 3 decks of varying power and have a Rule 0 conversation at their pod before the game begins. This is a competitive event as much as it can be. You bring a deck, you play a deck. There can be only one. Bring your strongest deck. It's that simple. Okay? That's what we're asking you to do. No more 3 decks for EDH players. Bring your strongest deck. It takes away the Rule 0 conversation. And it takes away any salt that can be like poured on the table from those infernal Rule 0 conversations where you say, oh, I'm playing this kind of thing, and blah, 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 and then you pull out that commander, and the guy at the far end of the table goes, oh, no, that's not that level, you blah, blah, blah. Okay? Enough of that. You bring one deck, and you play one deck. EDH, cEDH, that's how it goes. You don't have to play the same deck at each event. You can bring a new deck to the next event, whatever the case may be, but for that day, you play that deck. Simple. Finished club. Right? Is that clear for everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Did I miss anything as to our reasoning? I think our reasoning's pretty clear. It's competitive, and we're trying to get rid of that whole salty layer before the game starts.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what this means for play on the day. Okay? And this is where I did mention when I put out the post earlier we're going to slap a couple of rules on this tournament. So here comes the slappy bit. Assume that at a given EDH pod there are concerns about the power level of a deck in play. The player in question will be asked to provide a link to their deck list. As mentioned before, right? We will then submit that to the independent power level team. They will then return with the decision on where the deck should be positioned on the power level ladder, and their decision is final. We're not going to be hi Vikari. We're not going to be. There's no like back and forth on this. If the power level team comes back and says this deck is X, that's what it is. Yeah. You guys need to accept that. All right. Everybody who plans to play, please just accept that. It's not done out of anything other than trying to find the right place for a deck to be. Okay? All right? Right, moving on. If they determine that the deck is not fit for the EDH stream, i.e. too powerful for the EDH stream, and when we say too powerful, we're talking high power 8. Right? Lily, Tim, Philip?
Yes. That's correct.
Okay, high power 8. Alright? That fringe deck that's falling over the line like my hand. Okay? That's what we're talking about. The player will be instantly transferred to the cEDH stream with the offending deck. Zoop, move. Okay? Depending on the state of...
Open up a nice-
Sorry, say that again?
Sorry. I was just going to say we're going to open up a nice seat for you to compete.
So depending on the state of play, this may mean that they will forfeit any points they may have won in the EDH pod as they are inserted into the cEDH tree. The remaining players at the EDH pod will, depending on time, have the choice of either playing their pod complete with 3 players or splitting the remaining points available in the current game. Should the power level team decide the deck is EDH legal, then the game will pick up from the active player's turn if there's still action left in the game. I see are there any banned cards? Chill, we're coming. And yes, only one deck for EDH. Only one deck for EDH. It just makes sense. You don't go to a modern event with 3 modern decks and say, I think I'll play Living End because everybody else is playing what, and then choose to change to a freaking Murktide after game match 2. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. So
yeah, so to put into perspective on that point for Crispiwan as well, the Las Vegas event, which is a commander party basically, it's fully competitive EDH as well. One deck for 400 players for the entire day.
There you go. See?
One deck each.
400 players. So Hulk is in... Oh dear. Okay. So let's move on, right? Okay. Please, everybody. The most important thing here. It's critical that if there is a concern, it gets raised immediately. We can do nothing once the game is complete. If the game is over and points have been won and lost, points are won and lost. Finished. There's nothing we can do about it. Okay? We really can do nothing after the fact. So if you've got a problem, wherever you are, if you're down in the Cape, if you're Eastern or Western Cape, or if you're up here in Gauteng and you're playing, and at least 3 of you in a pod have an issue with the other deck, call the TO, say, we need the independent power level team, please. Right? That's just how it's got to be, because we can't do anything about it once the match is over. If the match is over, them's the breaks. You didn't say anything. You don't, blah. Okay? But we're also not going to be sitting there going, one guy in the pod's going, that deck is too powerful, and nobody else is saying anything, because seriously, no. Okay. It's got to be unanimous. Alright, there has to be a unanimous consent that a deck is a problem deck before we will send it to the rules committee. The rules committee, the power level team. And it's not allowed that you just don't like Niels. Yes, this is also a thing, okay? I hope that's clear for everybody. Alright? We're calling this new rule the Don't Be a... It's a family show and I can't say it. Okay? But in short, it's called the Bad Rule, which is an acronym for Don't Be a... Okay? And we will enforce it moving forward. I think it's the only way to go. Okay? What this means for everybody. Do be a box. Yes. The don't be a... Yes. I can't say it. But it's not that word. It's the other one. It's Richard. Don't be a Richard. The short version of Richard. Okay. Now, what this means for all players. And just on that, okay, just so everybody knows. And this is my biggest thing, right? You all know your decks. You know how they play. You know what you want to do with those decks. You know what your intention with that deck is. Right? Come and play that. But don't come and play an intentional cEDH destroy everything deck on the fringes of EDH and expect to get away with it, because we're not going to let that happen. Okay? So don't be a Richard. Just come and play. Come and have fun. Okay? So at a National Commander League tournament, all players must be able to produce a deck list for any deck they are going to use. All players will be expected to abide by the rules of the tournament host and or event organizer, the host store, and Easy Gaming Group, including the independent power level team. Complaints about an oppressive deck will not be considered if only one person in the pod complains or after a match has been completed. All players are sincerely and unequivocally asked not to be a Richard. You all know your decks and how they play, so put them where they belong and make sure everyone has an enjoyable time. Another thing to consider is bad sportsmanship, which can affect the enjoyment of the game. Remember when you're playing to target the board state and not the players you're playing against, even if you don't like Niels. Okay? I mean, nobody really does, but you know, it's all good because it's Niels and he brings goblins. With that in mind, we're saying that we're going to incentivize the best showcase of sportsmanship, all right, in a day's play. We're trying to figure this one out. We haven't got it locked down yet of how it's going to work, but it'll be ready by the weekend. We want to add a little something that the players all vote for who they think had the best showcase of sportsmanship on the day, and we're going to give that somebody a little something special at the end of the day, or send it to them afterwards, or whatever the case may be, just to say thank you for being good sport. All right, that's something we want to introduce. I think it's pretty cool. Now, coming down to commanders and banned things, etc., etc. We already have a banned list from last year of commanders that are not allowed to be commanders in EDH. They may be commanders in cEDH, but not in EDH. This doesn't really matter because they now fall into a whole new category. Alright. Only the TO is eligible for that. For the Miscongeniality Award. Yes. Or is that for the best sportsmanship? Showcase of sportsmanship from the TO. Yes. That absolutely. And Gerard wins everyone in the Cape. So, we have over the last couple of weeks put together a list of commanders who will be considered cEDH commanders. Okay? This is an extensive list. It will be up on the website tomorrow. Alright? I am going to go through it this evening, but please make sure you check out the website. Alright? We have compiled this list. These may not be commanders in the EDH stream. These may only be cEDH commanders. They can be included in the 99 of an EDH thing. That's totally fine. Okay? They just can't be the commander. Alright? We've also allocated space for commanders who are on the fringe of cEDH. If decks using these cards as commanders are brought to play on the day, they will have to be reviewed before play commences by the power level team, who will then decide which stream they're supposed to go into. So, can we just, sorry, Lily, Tim, can I ask you guys just to jump in here before we go through this list and sort of just break down our reasoning behind the way we picked these, yeah?
Okay, well, we were looking at, current cEDH meta at the moment, and, commanders that are being used specifically for cEDH.
So yeah, the how do I put it? The logic behind each one of these is how much immediate value these commanders are, or if they immediately present a very oppressive game state to, which makes it very competitive if you're even playing with it to begin with. So as a good example for one of the newer commanders, what's that guy's name now? The White Wizard?
Gandalf the White.
Gandalf the White.
Gandalf the White.
Yeah, so Gandalf the White, flash it in, you can flash in legendaries and artifact now at instant speed. There really is one of a few ways to build that deck. If you're playing Gandalf the White, you're likely aiming to try and win very, very quickly, or it just presents a very oppressive board state because you can flash out stacks pieces, you can flash out even some really oppressive legendary creatures from the get-go. So things like that, Keurig being from last year is a very good example as well, or commanders that just contains way too much value. The jumping back on Crispin's point before is also the intention of the deck. So within the deck, when we review the player's deck lists, we will be looking at what the intention of the deck is. If I or the rest of the team or the collective, all of us can see that, okay, this deck is aiming to win at maybe turn 2-3, or you're just really, really efficient on getting your plan out. There's a critical mass of tutors, rocks, fast mana, and mana package that will push you into the cEDH territory, and we will likely come back with an answer that you belong in the competitive pod rather than in the EDH pod, because we can see the logic when we look at a deck list. And I think that is probably the fairest way that we can look at what the player is trying to do with this deck, whether it is really just a for funsies list, with some quickie combos in there, or you are here to win. And that's what separates the cEDH mindset from the EDH mindset. And I think that's the most important undertone that we need to stress here. I don't know if that makes sense for Lily and Crispin, at least from my side, that's the way I feel.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that.
Makes sense to me.
You just put it much better in words, yeah.
There's a Inferno Blaziken is saying maybe good if the EDH guys also have a short description of how the deck aims to win normally. So are you saying in terms of if your deck gets called up for the committee and needs to be seen, you can at least say, look, I built this deck to do X, and then the committee looks at it based on that, and is that what you're saying, Inferno? Baker Bakura, yes. To both your questions.
So look, let me see if I can try and answer that. Most of the time, at least in my experience, once a deck starts getting towards a certain degree of efficiency, you have very similar cards that start showing up because they become the best slot in that 99 slots.
Sure.
That needs to be in there to make sure that deck or the deck in that color needs to be effective. So a lot of the times, what separates a EDH normal round-the-mill fun aristocrats deck versus a now cEDH level aristocrats deck, well, you're going to have all the sacrifice outlets, you can have a critical mass of fast sackable creatures, you have the Angel's Grace that prevents you from losing, and that you can suddenly just out of the blue say, I'm going to try and kill myself, but I'm going to kill everybody at the same time, but I won't lose. These kinds of things. Yeah, you start seeing those efficient pieces. So it's actually a lot easier for us to just quickly look at, all right, this is what the deck is doing, this is the commander, and these are the plans that it looks like it's heading. And we can very easily identify what you're trying to do. And I almost want to err on the side of we would rather not the players tell us what they're trying to do, simply because it then biases the opinion.
Sure.
In a sense.
Does that?
But I don't know if the others agree. That's my opinion.
I think that makes sense. Lily, Phil, if you're still there.
No, yeah, it breaks up every now and then.
Okay, all right. Look, I think I'm in agreement with Tim on that particular point. Inferno, it's a nice idea, but again, I think it will, unfortunately, because we're human beings, having that context, even though it might be relevant, will bias the view of the independent team. Baker, just to come to your question, you missed the stream. We're uploading deck lists online, but yes, we're needing you to upload decks online for the purposes of this discussion we're having now in terms of power level. Saw something in the chat about only having one deck. Yes, for EDH, we've decided that this year, one deck for the day, play it through, bring your most powerful deck. Bring the deck you really want to win with, okay? That's kind of what we're trying to do. It is, even though it's not a comp REL event and can't be, we're trying to make it as competitive as possible. By when do deck lists have to be uploaded? The deck you're planning to play at that event needs to be up before the start of play. That's all. It's just in case we need to ask you, like if we need to do a deck check. If you were at a standard or modern or a pioneer event and judges came up and asked you for a deck check, it's exactly the same reason. That's really all it is. Just to make sure of power levels should there be any kind of problem with that. Okay. Is everybody clear on the way we've sort of gone about establishing our lists? Because, as I mentioned, it's fairly extensive, but I don't think it's unfair. So let me go through it quickly, and then I think, again, let me go through it quickly. We're going to have these lists up by the latest tomorrow afternoon on the website, easygaminggroup.com. You'll be able to go through them. If you have any questions about a deck you're planning to bring to any of our events, if you've got the deck list and you're not sure and you don't know and you're feeling like you don't know if you want to bring it, send me the deck list. Crispiwan, can we deck check you? You can if you like. I won't be playing because I'll be running around all over the place. But sure, I may end up playing at 1 or 2 events, and sure, if you want to deck check me, go ahead. I guarantee you I'm not going to have anything that runs close to cEDH. Straight up and simple. Okay, so please send any decks you've got concerns about. info@easygaminggroup.com. Send them to me. I'll send the links on to the team. They can have a look at them. They can come back to you and say where they think you should be playing these decks. Okay, they're not going to give you advice on how to make it stronger and fit into wherever, but they're going to say to you, based on what you sent them, this is an EDH or this is a cEDH deck for the purposes of the National Commander League. So info@easygaminggroup.com, subject line power level. Okay, send them. We'll look at them and we'll get back to you. I've just given the power level team so much work, just like that. Wah! So much work. Anyway, okay, here we go. We have separated the cEDH commanders into the following tiers. No, you may not put to say no, Elkie. Full stop, no. I'm not even going to get into that. We've separated our cEDH commanders into the following tiers. Tier S plus, Tier S, Tier A, and then there is a Tier B. Most of them are in Tier A. But as it goes right now, these are the commanders that we will consider cEDH full stop. Are you ready? I take a breath. Chrome, Ludovic's Opus, Najila, the Blade Blossom, Thrasios, Triton Hero, Timnir, the Weaver. Those are Tier S plus. Don't even think about saying, oh, but it's just a little EDH deck, Philip. Okay. Tier S, Armix, Filigree Thrasher, Cody, Vociferous Codex, Evelyn the Covetous, Ikra Shadiki the Usurper, Jeska, Thrice Reborn, Crick, son of Yorgmoth, who was banned anyway, Kenrith, the Returned King, who was banned anyway, Corvold, Fey Cursed King, who was banned anyway, Niels, Croc the Thumbless, Malcolm, Keen-Eyed Navigator, Rograk, son of Rogar, Sakashima of 1,000 Faces, Silas Wren, Seeker Adept, Tevish Zat, Doom of Fools, Urza, Lord High Artificer, Wynota, Joiner of Forces, Gandalf the White, Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. Those are our Tier S cEDH only commanders. Tier A, cEDH only commanders. Rocco. I did not see Rocco yet. Ah, there we go. Animar, Soul of Elements. Bergi, God of Storytelling. Brago, King Eternal. Bruce Tal, Boorish Herder. Cormila, Glamour Thief. Godo, Bandit Warlord. Grolnok, the Omnivore. Ishai, Ojotai, Dragon Speaker. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. Joda, the Unifier. Kess, Dissident Mage. Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. Kodama of the East Tree. Magda, Brazen Outlaw, Minsk, Beloved Ranger, Niv-Mizzet, Parun, Omnath, Locus of Creation, Orvar, the Allform, Prosper, Tomebound, Rocco, Cabaretti Caterer, Silvala, Heart of the Wilds, Shirokai, Genesis Engine, Sisse, Weatherlight Captain, Elky, Slimefoot and Squee, Tana, the Bloodsower, The First Sliver, Vorha, Doomsday Scepter, Yidris, Maelstrom Wielder, Yisan, the Wanderer Bard, Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. All of those that I have read out, Tier S+, Tier S, and Tier A, are considered cEDH commanders, full stop. Okay? The following Tier B commanders, if you are bringing these, we will have to run them through the team first to see whether they fit into EDH or cEDH. Here goes Tier B. So if you're running these, send us your lists now so we can check them and tell you where they should be playing in the league. Okay? Breyer, Ethereum Shaper, Bruvak the Grandiloquent. What a strange word. Grandiloquent. Chatterfang. Yes, that one. Chatterfang, Squirrel General, Dargo the Shipwrecker, Derevi Imperial Tactician, Edgar Markov, Heliod Suncrowned, Kalia of the Vast, Lightpaws Emperor's Voice, Oswald Fiddlebender, Rafine Scheming Seer, Sithis Harvest's Hand, the Beamtown Bullies, and Zur the Enchanter. Okay? There you go. Those commanders will need to be checked. That's Tier B. Tier S+, S and A are cEDH commanders. Full stop. I know it may seem like a lot, and I know it may seem a little oppressive from our side, but you must understand that we have to put things in place to try and mitigate the power level of different decks. Yeah? So, how is Yuriko wild even? What do you mean wild? Who said she was wild? There goes a year's worth of deck building. Oh dear. Again. What do you mean again? Just because I killed your Corval deck last year. Does at least only one of my decks got knocked out. Guys, that's just the way it's going to be. So if you're playing cEDH, you've got a wealth of commanders to choose from, okay? If you're playing EDH and you're playing any of those Tier B guys and girls and things, then we need to check them first, alright? Corvold and your Slimefoot. Yeah, but Slimefoot and Squee, I mean, it was brought to my attention earlier today that there are apparently something like 400 combos that you can run in Slimefoot and Squee. So no, Slimefoot and Squee cannot be an EDH deck. It's just that simple. Okay? What is this? Tim has just sent me something.
No, I've just I got a guy that's asking me about his deck list.
Okay.
I'm using this as an example on the group.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is actually a good example. So we had a guy that sent me this Atraxa Super Friends 2022. You know, it's a brew. It's a Super Friends list, and unfortunately, from what I can see, you have a fairly effective mana base already. You have 22 cards that draw. You have a abundance of other value engines. You have, from what I can count, already 7 to 8 combos, and then you have card draw and other types of value within even your commander, basically, because your commander essentially recurs the counters and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is like, I would say it's like a power level 9 or something. You should be playing this in cEDH. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you've got 16 ramp cards out of this.
Eternal Strain says Super Friends is S++.
Yeah, I think, look, you might... The good news about this is that you can now have the freedom to tweak this to be as competitive as you want. Bring your best. But if you bring this list on the day, bad news, you're going to be joining the cEDH pod.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so Daz Asta says Sidisi Undead Vizier with 10 swabs is safe, right? Oh dear. All the questions are coming out now. At this point, there is no reason playing anything from S tier. Not if you want to play EDH, no. Because,
you'll notice that a lot of the S tiers are partner commanders, and partner commanders that have a very specific function of finding cards in their abilities. It's too easy to actually loop those and make them a value engine in the command zone. Anybody that shows up with a list with those commanders, you can't realistically come and tell me that, okay, look, if you do this, you come to us and say that, okay, I'm running Thrasios, but it's Merfolk tribal. I might believe you if I see enough Merfolks in that deck. But most of the times, if you're running just Thrasios by itself even, you are seeking to generate infinite mana and draw out your deck. That's it. That's what the commander does. You can't argue. If you're going to run Thrasios as a Merfolk commander, you're going to be, there's better commanders for Merfolk. Why this card? That's the kind of question that we're going to be asking if you present a list like that. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm just answering a question quickly in chat. In fact, Burn typing it. Wahaha98, is there a link for the banned list? It will be up on the Easy Gaming website by latest tomorrow afternoon. Okay? They'll all be there. This entire list that I've just read out. Alright? So, these cards, Tier S+, Tier S, Tier A, not allowed in EDH. Okay? Tier B, potentially allowed, depending on what the power level team sees when they go through the deck. Alright? It's really just a way for us to mitigate what happened last year, where people were trying to sneak very high power fringe decks into the EDH section stream of events, and pretty much just ruining a lot of people's days, really. I understand that it's restrictive in some ways, but I also think that if you look at it from a different point of view, you could be having some cool fun with other cards in the EDH stream. There are some amazing commanders out there, as we all know, that you can play with. I saw a question asking about Perforos. Is Perforos allowed? I don't see Perforos on any of our lists here, so I'm going to say to team, is Perforos allowed? Yes?
Well, yeah, but I would say that if you have enough... Look, Perforos is slow enough that I think probably won't be problematic. But look, this list, we try to make rules that are black and white, basically. But
yeah.
We also appreciate the fact that on the day there are gray areas, which is why, it's up to the pod to feel that they're comfortable enough with the deck to report it.
Sure.
If you have a guy that comes with a Perforos list and he turns 6/7s a win that deals 40 damage to each player, no harm, no foul, I feel.
Sure.
But if you have a guy that rocks up with a Perforos list that slams slams 3 Moxes and has Perforo out first turn and is already starting to ping people, well, maybe the pod should take a vote.
Sure.
Because then you're getting to your engine a bit too far.
Again, I think this comes back to the whole idea about, if you've got a problem with a deck in your pod, if there's more than one of you that has a problem, say something. Yeah. Again, if you're sitting down at a pod and somebody pulls out a deck and they start playing this deck and you feel like it shouldn't be in EDH as a group, say something. We can't do anything after the match is over, but we can do something if you say something. That's why we've established this team. And that's why we're asking for deck lists. Okay? So that we can check a deck and go, okay, actually, you know what? This deck's a little too high power to be in the EDH stream. We're going to shift you into cEDH where we think you'll compete just fine. Yeah? And we were having a discussion today about a deck that we as a team looked at and felt was a high power 8, but that we had seen from one of our players' experiences competed exceptionally well against cEDH decks and actually had quite a few of them on the ropes. And so it's not like we're going to be taking you and putting you in a place where you won't be able to compete. We think that you'll be able to have a more competitive event if we put you in the right place. Will we update the list of new cards? Yes, absolutely. The lists are subject to change as new cards are released.
Yeah, look, to add to Crispin's point, it's not doom and gloom if you get added to a cEDH, pod or stream. Simply it's almost treated like as an acknowledgement of your deck building or net decking ability to find a deck that is actually worthy to be in the cEDH pod. The main thing is that, and back to that point, the deck that we actually revealed today, I would see that it can compete quite well with a lot of the mainstream cEDH decks simply because they're just not built to deal with those kind of nonsense. EDH is a game about creativity and it's about shaking things up as well. And having some of these, I want to say, alternate streams of ideas coming in to compete is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you're building a deck to compete to that extent already, you might as well join the pods that's not going to get salty with you. That's going to be welcoming you with, to play your growth things.
Keep in mind, that's a big part of it. Turek Tokpa, I see your question. I'll answer you in a second. So, if you come to play cEDH, you know what to expect. There's no saltiness, there's no gripes, there's no nonsense. You know what to expect. You come to play cEDH, you know the kind of decks you're going to be up against. It's in the EDH level where people are trying to sneak these fringe things in where the salt comes. Because the EDH players are there for a different intention than the cEDH players. Right? And it all comes back to that. So just keep that in mind when you're building your decks. Yes, we are asking you guys to do deck lists. We're not asking you to submit them. We're asking you to put them up on places like Moxfield, Archidect, any of the deck building sites where you can just have a link that should we need to check your deck, you can give us the link, we can give it to the group and off it goes. Okay? Jedrisco, as for stacks, is there a line to cross for cEDH stacks and how do we determine the stack's power level? I am going to graciously hand that question over to Tim while I run to the little boys' room.
Okay, so you guys will notice that some of the more stack-C commanders were in the A list, So decks like Shurikai, decks like Urza, and a few others were already in that deck list. But on the day, if there is enough stacks pieces and efficiency in the stacks, so to speak, that the pod feels like it's becoming too oppressive, you're welcome to also nominate for this deck to be taken to the more competitive stream. So the point of stacks is actually to compete against decks that have, better access to value than you do, and then you take your time to win. And I get that it's a different way of building to a win, but nevertheless it's still building to a win. So depending on what the stacks pieces are in there and how efficient and quickly they can get to that board state, we as a committee will also judge whether or not this deck deserves to be in the cEDH pod or not. Like as a good example, Nath of the Guildleaf is very much a below or below B tier commander, but it can be built into a cEDH commander simply because you can have that critical mass of stacks pieces, critical mass of mana dorks that allows you to get those stacks pieces quickly, to start controlling the game. So stacks is a bit more of a sensitive subject as well, and I think the people on the EDH side will probably agree with me a lot more, is that it's also seen as unfun. So yeah, I would suggest that if you start getting into that territory where it's just becoming a bit too oppressive, get us involved. Let's have a look at how efficient the deck is. Once again, it's about trying to find that train of thought. Okay, are you building the stacks deck so that you have a win con in mind at the end, or are you just here to torment people? That might fall back to the don't be a Richard rule, again. So yeah, once again, if something is happening, if someone is seriously playing with power when it comes down to stacks pieces, don't be afraid to raise your hand and say that, listen, we would like to see a deck list check, please.
There we go. Can I just tell me, I'm just going to jump in there. Inferno Blazikins put it like nail on the head. Homies, don't bring stacks for casual.
Yeah.
Simple. Don't be a Richard.
Yeah, bring growth stacks to, cEDH. I mean, I brought Shurikai to Stone Dragon while I was in the cEDH pod there, and it was beautiful.
And wait, hold on. There was a time where it was when you were at an event last year, Tim, where you were the only non-stacks player.
Oh yes, yeah. So that was Nexus, and it was myself, 3 other stacks decks, and we played 5 rounds. We were there until 6. It was a glorious experience, transformative, I would say.
Oh dear. No, there are no islands on any of our tier lists. Islands are allowed to be played, but only if they're EGG basic islands that you buy off our website. All other islands are banned. Okay, that was a joke. Also, Matthew says, if you bring stacks, good luck finishing in 50 minutes too. This is also true. Yeah, those are one of those things. Ladies and gents, I hope we've managed to answer. Okay, so that's our spiel. That's what we've had to say tonight. That's what we wanted to bring to everybody's attention before the events kick off on the weekend. If you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them. Rex191, how many rounds will a single event have? Apologies if this was mentioned earlier, as I only joined a bit late. It's totally fine, dude. We try to have 5 rounds in a day. Sometimes that's not possible because of turnout. Sometimes it ends up being less. However, that makes no difference to your points tally because our algorithm on points takes into account how many rounds you've had and evens out the points across events. Okay? So we aim for 5 rounds of 50 minutes each. If we can't do that, then we play as many as we can. Bigger Clausen says, think about how many problems that would solve. I don't know what we're talking about right now. Oh, banning islands. Yes. Okay. When will the event start times be posted? Those are the store's start times. As far as I know, we generally recommend that registration starts at 9 and that first round kicks off at 10. That's kind of how we go. But that's I think that's pretty standard, really, for how. Can we bring another deck for casual play? Sure. If you've got time for casual play in between the 5 rounds, you're planning to finish early. Someone's playing mono red. Inferno Blaziken ticket cost per event. Each qualifier costs $180. Okay, unless you're a VIP member, then it costs $140. All the tickets are available on the website. They're only available on the website. Please buy them from the website. Are egg tokens compulsory for you? Yes. You may not play any other tokens whatsoever. Alki, you're only allowed to play egg tokens at our events. If you play any others, you just DQ'd like that. You're out. Thank you for coming. You will be able to pay at the store, but it will be a link to our website. We'd really prefer it if you could buy them beforehand. That way we can have our registration all set up and ready to go. So when you walk in, your name's already on a list. All you have to do is say, I'm playing EDH or cEDH. This is the commander I'm running. Boom. Off you go. Yeah? We are going to provide an easy pay link to all the stores. It'll be a QR code they'll print out on a piece of paper on the counter that you can scan. It'll jump you through to the website where you can quickly buy your ticket. But we're trying to take away a lot of admin from the stores and a lot of the clutter of registration. So it's literally a case of please buy your tickets beforehand so that when you get there, the store's got their list of already who's playing, blah, 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 and off we go. Okay. I think it's just the easiest way to go. Any other questions besides things like are egg tokens compulsory? Because of course they are, as are egg basic lands, etc., etc. We're such horrible punters, aren't we? We're just like, buy my stuff, it's cool. But anyway, anything else, people? Chat, anybody? Lily, Phil, I don't know if Phil's still in chat. I don't know if his laptop died. Tim, Lily, you guys got anything you think we haven't covered?
No, I think we've got everything.
Will egg tokens and lands be available for purchase at the stores? No, they won't be. They're only available through the egg website, because that would be rude to the stores, I think. It's an egg product. We haven't put it out to anybody else yet. We'll see how that goes. At the moment, they're only available on our website. But that's where you can find them. And they're pretty cool too. They're kind of funky. I kind of like them. I think I got one or two of them lying around here somewhere. Oh, here we go. One of my favorites. As our construct, one of our constructs. We've got 3 constructs. Very, very cool. I have my decks on Delver Lens app. Will that be fine? Are you able to give us a link to the decks on the Delver Lens that we can share with the power level group? Hello? I don't know. What does Delver Lens do? Does it allow you to share a link to a deck to someone else?
Let me have a look.
Just need that email address to send. I'll drop it right here. Okay, that's the email address to send us decks you're not sure of. All right, this doesn't count as submitting a deck list if you send to that email address. All right, it's literally you send, if you've got a deck you're not sure of where it's going to play, EDH or cEDH, send it to us. Let's have a look at it before everything kicks off on the weekend, and you know where you can go. Delver Lens can export up to 100 cards to mail somewhere. Okay, cool. So that should be fine. Yes. Then to answer your question, Torak Tokpa, as long as you're able to send us the deck list. Yes, absolutely, you can use Delver Lens.
And he must just add, because if he can export 100 cards, he must just put in...
who's the commander?
Who's the commander, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I used it last year when I had to submit for finals on email. Perfect. Just so long as you, once you've got it, just tell us who the commander is so we know who we're looking at. I think that's cool. Torak Tukpo, sorry, I'm a bit of a noob with this. Haha, don't stress about it. It's all fine, dude. We're all noobs in one way or another. I haven't had to come up with a list of cEDH commanders before, which is why I made Lily do it. All my deck lists I sent to you, Crispy, were Delver deck lists. Okay, cool. I didn't know that, But if it works, it works. Great. Anything else, people? I'm the reason I'm asking is because everything I've just told you, we've just divulged to you over the last hour and a half. I now need to go and put up on the website. So I'd like to do that before tomorrow. If that makes any sense. If there are any concerns that you have about the things that we've spoken about tonight, if there are any questions you have, if there's anything you're not sure of, most of you have my number. Please drop. We're totally transparent about the way we do stuff. We always have been. So if you start typing, damn right. So if you've got any queries or questions, info@easygaminggroup.com. We'll answer the questions. Send me a WhatsApp, call me, drop me a text message, whatever. We will do our best to answer all the questions you have and make sure that you get the full understanding of what it is we're trying to do. I hope that's okay with everybody. I hope everybody is clear on what we've done and the reasons we've done it. Because it doesn't come from anywhere other than trying to make this year's league better than last year's league. Because last year's league was pretty cool. I thought it was. Tim thought it was. He won.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
He got a trophy. It was a cool trophy as well.
Yeah, I hopefully we'll win another one.
There we go. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's anything else left to say at this point, except that we're going to stick all the stuff up on the website, make sure that it's available for people to peruse and to start asking questions and all of that jazz. So in the meantime, I want to thank Philip, who unfortunately appears to have left us, for joining us for as long as he could, and for being a part of the Power Level team. It really means a lot to me that we've got someone like Philip giving up his time to help get this stuff sorted out. And the same goes for Lily, the same goes for Tim. Everybody's got their own lives that they need to lead and things they need to do. So it's really amazing that you all are willing to give up your time to help us as EGG make this event hopefully better than it was last year. So we got a last question here from Torak Tokba. So we can only bring one deck to play in EDH, or is that just no? It's for both EDH and cEDH, just one deck. It's not. I mean, yeah. I think it's just one deck. I think we have to stick to that simply because we want to be able to say it's a competitive style event. Play it as such. Done. All right. I hope that makes sense to everybody, and I hope that's cool. But yes, I agree. This is an incredibly cool token. You want this token. You should go check out the tokens on the EGG website. This is not subliminal messaging in any way whatsoever. Oh dear. Philip's reaction to the deck that Tim was talking about earlier. Sorry, there are some laughing faces, and then it says, "Yeah, right, just a fun deck, right?" Question mark. Oh dear. Yes, absolutely. As Karat says, bring your deck. Good luck. That's what you're there for. You're there to come and play. You're there to come and win prizes and stuff. And that's how it's going to be. Like I said, the qualifiers is unfortunately from a prize support point of view, EGG and Unplug Yourself, who have come to the party in a big way, we've reserved our input on prize support for the regionals and for the final, simply because of what we're actually putting up. But again, last year the stores that hosted put out super prize support for their events. They really did. You know what I mean? So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. And at the end of the day, some peeps are going to win some really cool stuff. Also, don't forget, from regionals onwards, we got killer EGG playmats coming your way for top 8 on both cEDH and EDH this year. Not like last year where we could only go to top 4. We're going top 8 mats for regionals, top 8 mats for finals. So yeah, and top 8s for the leagues. So there you go. Just a little something we thought we'd throw out there as well. Okay. So again, to all the stores in chat that I can see right now, I'm not going to name you all, but the ones I can see, thank you so much for being a part of the Commander League. It's an absolute pleasure to have you join us on this adventure again. We had such a good time last year that I'm only hoping that this year is going to be bigger, better, more fun, less salt, and cooler stuff happening everywhere. For the ones that I can be at, I will try and be at almost every event that I'm able to get to, at least to show my face until play starts, and then we'll take it on from there. And that's about it, I think. Lily, again, any last thoughts from anybody? Lily, Tim, anybody in chat? Last thoughts before we say goodnight?
No, not from me.
Okay, Tim.
Yeah, we're all good here.
All right, fantastic.
All good.
Chat, if there's nothing else, don't forget to send things through. Was the proxy issue solved? I was late. Yes, if you can present the original card, you can play the proxy. Done. Finish. Klar. Okay. If you've got any other questions, info@easygaminggroup.com, and we will get back to you as fast as we can. Other than that, we'll see you on the battlefield. Good night, everybody. I'm so looking forward to the league. Oh, don't forget Commanders on Wednesday night. We have Commanders. We're going to have some peeps. I currently have 3 players, and I'm going to find us one more, and we're going to do some silly Lord of the Rings inspired nonsense on Wednesday night before we kick off the Commander League on the weekend. So join us for that right here on twitch.tv/Easy Gaming Group at about 8 p.m. Wednesday night. Other than that, I will now see you on the battlefield. Say goodnight. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, everybody.